6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that takes us right to swearing in.
Yep. So let's start with you, Max. Do you want to go to the center of the room? Sharon, so people can get around me.
Where?
That's good. Face the camera. You ready? All right. Max, please repeat after me. I, Maxwell Goulet,
I, Maxwell Goulet,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of mayor
the duties of the office of mayor
of the city of Blackduck, Minnesota,
of the city of Blackduck, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment
best of my judgment
and ability, so help me God.
and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. Give that to you to sign.
Thank you.
Jason, please. Jason, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jason Kolb,
I, Jason Kolb,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of counselor
the duties of the office of counselor
of the city of Blackduck, Minnesota,
of the city of Blackduck, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. You sign that here. And Nick. You got it all memorized now, so I don't even need to say anything, right? Nick, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Nicholas Seitz,
I, Nicholas Seitz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of counselor
the duties of the office of counselor
of the city of Blackduck, Minnesota,
of the city of Blackduck, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. I need all those back when you guys are done signing them.
Okay. We will need to, we can remove item F.
I would
Is
put
that-
that in your form of your motion. Max, I would make the motion and.
You want to
remove
approve
that
the
item.
agenda first and then do the consent?
Yep,
Okay.
but the agenda has to have, item F under the administrator's report removed
Mhm.
in the motion.
A motion to accept the agenda. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes.
Administrator F.
8F is being removed, yes. Yep. So we won't discuss that tonight.
And then we have the consent agenda, which will be passed in one motion unless someone needs to pull something to talk about.
This is where we're gonna pull F, correct?
That is incorrect.
F,
F is, 8F is
Farther down.
correct, yeah.
the administrator's report.
There's nothing to come out of the consent unless you guys want to have something out.
Anybody?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda is passed. And we don't have anyone here for the forum. Do we? Anybody for the Blackduck Forum? That's my official 2 times asking. And now we would need a motion to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing. Anybody? Sheldon would like to move that.
I would like to move that.
And
Into the close.
I will second that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, so
Is anyone here?
anybody here?
Discuss the public hearing.
For the public, I would like to discuss the vacating of this street. Going once.
You know, I kind of looked into on that deal.
Are you a member of the public at this moment, Counselor
Member of the
Osland?
Public living in town.
Yep.
And if they vacate it, then who is it up to pay for the removal, you know, the city or the homeowner?
If you're referring to snow removal, Sheldon, currently the property owner is doing it anyway,
Right.
right? And since the road has never been developed, there would be none in the future. If that were to be the case and the back area would end up being residential drives, then it would be that private owner property's responsibility to do so. So the only portion of that road that would be city street will be from 71 to that
To the
section
back
of,
hill.
yep, to that section of Milky Way. And that's it.
Other than that, that's it. I'm just
Okay.
curious, making sure the city is.
Right, that we're not-
Spending
Understood.
financial on closure of a road, or later on down the road, if it gets redeveloped into a subdivision, then it's gotta be re-brought back in. And who's gonna pay to have it taken off the plat book and
Right, right. And then that would be the homeowner or the property owner again. Yes, you are correct.
that's
Very good, sir.
all I was looking at. Yeah. Thank you.
Do we have any other members of the public? Going for a third time, and that's no. So on the petition,
You're not gonna vote on it. You're gonna close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
mhm. Motion to,
A motion to close the public hearing and open the regular hearing meeting again.
Second.
motion and a second to close and reopen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None passes.
So that was Jason and Sheldon.
Correct.
Thank you.
You need a stenographer?
Nope, I'm just trying to catch up and do that and do this,
No, I get
so,
it, I get it.
but thank you.
Reports of committees. Mike?
Don't really have much to report for this last month. Low snow, I like that. Trying to get people caught up and in compliance with the parking. Doing that, we've just kind of been business as usual, doing some stuff in here and doing various other things around town that get done and can get done in our slower time right now.
Have we taken possession of our vehicles yet?
Not yet,
Not yet.
hopefully next week.
I think that was actually in the, something about that in the consent, wasn't there?
Mhm. Yes, that's correct. I am just waiting for some details from GM Financial and the dealership. Hopefully it'll be next week.
Okay.
Anything from me from any of you? Nothing? Good.
Shonda?
We don't have a lot to report. As you know, 2020 was unusually challenging. The numbers, as you guys saw at the liquor store report, still did the okay for the circumstances, for sure. And our end of the year inventory was very good. Less than a 1%. Shrinkage, which is good. It's cleaner. Part of the reason is we weren't open for 6 months, so there wasn't a lot of transfers, so that does help.
Did it take less time to do inventory because of that? Or is it still about the same?
We sold like $11,000 worth of stuff on New Year's Eve. That helped a lot.
Yeah, that's true. So it
So
really
that-
clean
that's
house.
A lot of inventory. And I mean, the week prior to that, we had higher sales than on sale. People weren't spending their money in the on sale.
Yeah.
They were staying home. Yeah. Other than that, we're just,
And you were open today?
yes. Yes, it was good to have people in the bar.
How was that received?
Good, people were very happy to be in there.
Good.
It was like they were Jones with their pull tabs, though, as far as talking.
Are you still gonna, excuse me, are you still gonna hold your 8 PM or are you gonna go up to 10 PM?
We're gonna do 10 PM. Like, take as much open time as possible.
Good.
We've been doing some research and trying to get some input for the expansion, and we went over to Bagley today. We didn't really believe that we were gonna be open, so we made this appointment before.
So we were kind of out of the office for most of the afternoon.
But got some really good insight and what.
One that's nice that Chris is the operator, owner, or not operator, but manager of the liquor store in Bagley. He is also our president of our MMBA. So a lot of information we can gather from him, or any further questions you have of us, we can have him come to a meeting if we need to as well, because he's so close by. So it was good information.
happenings and stuff.
Yep.
He's been on the Zoom call with the governor, so
Was asked him to not join.
not join anymore. He had too many questions.
I'm not surprised.
So he's kind of on the block list of the governor's meetings now.
By any chance, did you guys share with Chris, kind of the plan?
Yeah, we brought it over to him.
How was that received? Did you have any good feedback?
He had good feedback. His strengths are more in your computers, your
Okay.
programming, your cameras, security, that kind of thing is his real, kind of his wheelhouse.
Okay.
He has utilized, and he's getting us in touch with people point of sale.
Good.
Also, there's corporate Coors Light. let's say,
Okay.
Corporate people.
Yep.
And they have planogram schools, planogram suggestions,
Very good.
traffic flow, that kind of thing, where you put what.
Mm-hmm.
So
That'll help.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
made some contacts and hopefully he'll be sending us some more information via email.
And like basically keeping the overhead down.
Yeah, just making sure that when we do this, that we do it right, Sheldon. That's the most important thing. Do it right the first time. Any other questions?
Super Bowl party?
Might as well look forward to it. What, 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks? No.
Every time I
No,
put
it's in
something in my-
February, so.
Every time I put something in my planning book, he shuts us down. So I just want to be like, I'm just maybe play it off the cuff. I don't know.
I just thought, yeah, what the hell? We can try. We'll jinx it now, and then
Make a lot.
You know something we don't know about the half capacity thing? You're gonna go 75%, 80%?
no idea. I have no idea.
No, we have a big area there, so we can house a lot of people at 50%. I was glad to see that. And we have 100 chairs, so we can have 50 people in there.
Oh, we can do outdoors as well too, correct?
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, this is nice. Next week, not sounding like it's gonna be that nice. 9 above is too cold for me to stay outside and have a hamburger. So
Very good.
Anything else on the building? We got furnaces, all that good stuff.
it's still in work. Still don't have it installed yet.
See, he was there today.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, yeah, he might have been working on some stuff.
Okay.
We should talk tomorrow, see if you would need me to drop them a letter.
Yeah. Or just a phone call from Max or.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if a phone call is gonna help, but
Well,
it's good.
Let's
We're,
have
we're
a
gonna leave. We're gonna leave it right there.
Right. Right.
$1,000 now?
Jace, we have anything from him?
We have
He's
nothing for
off.
Jace. He is off right now.
I think we
He did not
saw-
provide anything to me to report, so,
Okay,
and
so I was wondering on the, you had your personnel meeting. Thank you.
still waiting on just some feedback on that. I wanted Jace to be present before we put that into a
Okay.
motion to approve that. Need a little feedback from the personnel committee, but I pulled it and didn't want it in the agenda unless he was present in case there was questions. So I'll look for that for February's meeting.
So do I owe you some feedback? Yes. Okay, sorry.
It's okay. It's been busy. It's all right. You're
There's,
fine.
I missed that one.
It's okay.
Okay. And who else? Fire, golf, library.
Nothing from fire department. I have spoken with Brian recently. He's working on some year-end items and still procuring those radios. There's might have a little bit different report, but that's still moving forward. So we just haven't seen the invoices from Rogers yet. Otherwise, everything's fine with the fire department. Golf course is still on a break. We'll have to have a board meeting here pretty soon, though.
Do they have, in that personnel committee meeting, and I saw that the wages were approved. The
Mhm.
committee approved the wages for, but that was for public works only, or was that
Nope, that was for the whole city.
the whole thing?
Right.
Okay. So far as the library goes, they've just been open. We haven't even had, they haven't had a meeting. They don't generally this time of year.
So nothing on that.
Nothing new from them. That brings us to you, Christina.
Okay, great. All right, so letter A is the annual appointments and designations for 2021. If you review the draft that I presented to council in your packet, I kind of recreated the documents. Might be a little easier for council to see where the openings will be. Provided some feedback from counselors in the past. I left everything that would be a council member and an additional person open. I have only received feedback from Jace, since he's not present, that he would like to be on the Park and Trail Board. I think Mike has a couple of requests as well, and then open up wherever people are gonna sit where,
Okay,
if that makes much sense.
well, I'm going to say that Nick, if you're interested and would be willing to serve as vice mayor, that should be you.
I'll accept.
The, you said Jace on Parks and Trails?
Jace wants to be on Park and Trails. So then we need a council member on that board.
I'll stay. You wanna stay?
I'll stay on.
Okay, you can stay.
Okay.
So that's Sheldon.
Yep. And then on the personnel committee, I am fine with it being a department head or two, or one and a council member still. I think that's sufficient.
Okay. Jason, you want to sit on the personnel committee?
I can sit on the personnel committee.
If I can say something, I'd like to see a department head as in myself, Jason, Shonda, all three of us on that committee.
One,
Your three main departments, I think we should all have a seat at that table when it comes to the personnel committee.
So basically, we're adding 2 extra people. If I heard you right.
If that's the case.
That's fine. We should have a council member.
That's kind of where I was leaning too, because they're pretty much there anyways.
Yep.
I mean, if they're,
It's always been 3, but that doesn't mean that only has to be 3.
everybody gonna make the meetings?
Yes,
I know
One other
Jace
meeting.
would be on it. I
as needed.
didn't talk to Shonda at all,
Usually.
but Shonda's already on it, so.
Okay.
Right, and I mean,
Whenever I
if
can
you're
get it,
looking
then
at
it
how many
doesn't
people,
have at the same time, but yeah,
personnel, we have like 15 of them, so.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, I think it's a good idea that if you want your department, there's hiring and firing, you guys are gonna have to be the ones doing that, so. Long and the short of it is right there.
That is true. That type of movement, the department head and the city administrator have the right to do so with final approval by council, unless it becomes like a full-time employee, like,
Yeah.
you know, like we have been doing. But a lot of the times, if there's an issue, an incident, something to that extent that needs to be discussed, that's one of the reasons you pull department heads and council in to discuss. There hasn't been many recently. Year-end reviews, wages, like there's a wage study.
How do you feel the year-end reviews go?
I feel they go very well. It's nicer to do it in a smaller group, but each department head does their staff and they do a good job, and then I review it afterwards.
I don't know. I wouldn't like giving my boss a review. necessarily. Sometimes it's not a easy thing to do, or to ask of someone.
Yep.
Anybody thoughts on that, or
Is it mandatory?
Meaning
Do they have to do it
a review on
themselves?
a self-review, you mean?
Mhm.
I've always asked for it for feedback. I think it's a good self-reflection. That doesn't mean it changes. If we're only talking about reviews on department staff, department heads, that doesn't mean it changes or alters the review that's done by myself, if that's what you're referring to, Jason.
Well, like Max was saying, if the person feels uncomfortable, do they have to be present in order to have the review, or will that hurt them in the review?
I don't think I follow where you're coming from.
let's say Mike reviews you,
Mhm.
and you don't like his review, and you review him.
Oh, well, it's called no retaliation, first of all, and second of all,
That's what I think we were trying to.
okay, and second of all, I don't answer to the personnel committee, I answer to this board.
Okay.
So that has no bearing on it if you're only referring to me and this position.
Right, okay.
Okay, so the personnel committee is reviewing it as a whole and needs to be impartial and looking at it as basically a committee, a unifying board, not one or the other. So it's difficult in smaller towns when you're the department head and you gotta play both sides. Do you want to have, you gotta follow your budget, but then you want more things, you can't have the cake and eat it too. You can't stand on that fence and be on both sides. It's difficult. So the people that are put in those roles need to understand they have to be able to be objective
Mhm.
when it comes to reviews.
That's what I'm getting at.
And I believe your department head staff is objective.
Okay.
And may I say something? The personnel committee is not just about review either.
Thank you.
It's about development of job descriptions and
Policy.
pay raises and steps and stuff. And I think having this group, having the department heads involved and more involved, maybe will actually improve, lines, definitions,
Mhm.
perspectives, maybe getting.
I think collaboratively, we all work really well together, and I think we're able to kind of tell each other point blank, no, that's kind of stupid, or we have that working relationship that we're able to, bounce things off of each other and go back and forth and find the right thing that fits what we're working on.
Right, if there's
Like
something
chemistry.
necessary, putting new job descriptions in.
Mhm.
With this expansion, there's going to be some in my department. So having more points of view.
Just outside source,
I think the suggestion is fine. I don't think having two more people is going to make it
Well, then
confusing.
let's make it that way then.
Okay. So Jason will still be the council member and we'll have two additional department heads on that.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. Yep. Public Works, Mike, you had a,
For that one, I would like to see, if possible, one of the other department heads join me on that one as well,
okay,
whether it be Jace or Shonda. It's just, for me, it's, again, either one of those two will tell me if I'm off base on something or if my ideas aren't working out and things like that. Honestly, I think it's a good way to keep me honest, to tell the truth. It's a good check and balance with them.
I'll do it with him. Well,
Yep. And it's just,
I think
it's someone else in a similar position that,
And I
we're
think
able
it
to go back and
encourages
forth on things.
something that we've not had before. It encourages interdepartment communication a little better, I think.
Yep.
To be more positive, I believe.
Then you need a council member on that.
Sit on it.
Nick?
Liquor committee.
Nick, you want to keep going on that?
On what?
On the liquor committee, since you're helping with the planning?
I can hear.
You'd be the better fit. That way I don't have to listen to, oh, she's your wife.
That's more.
Then we need a staff member and a council member on the finance committee.
I'd like to remain on that if possible.
How often do you meet?
On the finance committee, well, we've met quite a bit since I got put on it.
What time of the day?
I think we met mid-afternoon
Yeah,
this
somewhere.
summer when we started the budgeting,
What day of the week?
whatever we can,
Whenever we
Well,
could make it work, basically.
Wednesday or Thursday,
We were meeting,
usually ended up.
we were every week there.
Monday or Friday?
I think we did it on Fridays actually, didn't we?
If I can only do the
Yep.
Friday, I can do it.
Yeah, I think we did it on Fridays this past summer.
Whatever it was that worked out, basically. Is
Yep. I think that would be good.
Okay, I'll
Well,
sit on that one.
Jason? You okay with that, Max?
Yep,
Jeff? You sat on it already this year?
I've been on the
Unless
finance
you want to
committee.
be back on it.
Oh, we should rotate.
I've been on there for a couple of years.
We should rotate it.
Put somebody else's point of view in there,
Yep.
bring it to the council that way. Public safety. Oh,
Max, you're not on anything yet. You need to be on at least one or two or three of them. You're not gonna get out of this without being on one.
I was gonna say, I can take that again.
I was trying to do that thing.
Since I get most of the Stanford stuff anyway.
Yes, I will sit on the public safety committee.
Oh, Jason, I think there's still a spot in here for you.
Don't worry.
I don't think we're done with you yet.
Oof, this thing is long. Have you seen the whole list?
Well, it's not, you added a few.
No, I just made it a little easier for everybody to tell how much it was. It made it a lot easier for formatting. It was, yeah, it was hard. Golf board. You need a counselor on that.
I was sitting on that last year. Do you still want me on there?
I think that would be good. You only made it on the one meeting in the fall, and we should probably keep going.
It still counts.
I know. You haven't been on a full year yet, so a full year is probably good.
Jason, how do you feel about the golf board?
I think you make an excellent fit, Max.
Okay, not getting out of that one.
I need a motion to close this meeting momentarily.
Safety committee. I need a counselor or a staff member. Sheldon, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. We need a,
No, there are no counselors or elected officials on the planning commission, huh?
there is not, no. No, there can be a liaison, but an
No.
unvoting board member.
They requested not to have a counselor.
Yep,
I would encourage anybody, if you get time over the next year or so,
to at least attend one.
pop in on one of their meetings,
Mhm.
just to watch. Kind of keeps them,
Is it like a circus then?
huh?
Is it like a circus?
No,
Just interesting.
no, it's just, I think that everybody here should know how the planning commission is, putting stuff together. Christina, you're still the zone.
Yep. Gotta work on, that's,
Library board,
we need a liaison. Do you wanna step down and let someone else because they meet regularly, correct?
They have been.
So
Where do you go for that?
to the library, I would
In town?
propose, if I may, yes, in town. I would propose, because the next representative line is now open, Kendra will not be sitting as your Kichigami rep this year. Her load is too full. That the person that sits at the Blackduck board, which typically the Kichigami representative is typically a council member, and prior to Kendra sitting on it, I could get no one on the council to sit. I feel it should be a council member. Those meetings, since they started, since COVID, have been Zoom meetings. So I would put that out for consideration if anybody wants to step forward for that. Because it's nice to have that seat filled. It worked really nice having Kendra on there the last couple of years.
They're usually night meetings, correct?
That is correct.
That
And they're
takes me
usually
out.
like a Tuesday at like 6.
Yeah, that takes me out.
Okay. Nick? Okay.
I think you'd be a good fit for that one too. You got little kids, books, that kind of stuff.
Home library. When this, Nick, I'm not sure if you're informed on this or not, but when this COVID thing stops with the Kichigami, it's a drive. To Bemidji or what?
The Kichigami legal library representative, normally they meet in Pine River. Yep. And a lot of the times, because there's a Blackduck, Bemidji, Beltrami representative, all from their boards, they would carpool. So you get down to Pine River. That was prior to COVID. Now they're doing them remotely.
Okay,
So you'll most likely get a Zoom link and do it remotely.
that's fine. I only work till 3 anyway, so if I'd have to drive it.
It wouldn't be a problem. Yeah. And I think a lot of the times when they were in person, they'd trade off on who drives. And there's a per diem that Kichigami supplies that representative.
Make a mileage thing.
Correct. In addition to what our local levy pays that person to go to. Okay.
So I mean, we obviously think it's important enough to have
Somebody do
to
it.
do it that we've even started,
Yep.
paying.
So Nick is doing what now?
Nick is
Nick is
gonna
the
sit
new
as the
library
library
board.
board liaison for the city as well as Kichigami. And then the last
Revolving.
space would be for the revolving loan fund committee. And I would prefer that to be, no offense, but I prefer that to be the mayor.
Okay,
So can I recap what we just put on?
I hope so.
Okay, that's why I made these nice empty spaces. So if council's gonna approve resolution 2021-01, the spaces that are gonna be filled will have Nick's sites as vice mayor, Sheldon and Jace Brandruth on the Park and Trail Board, Jason Kolb, Shonda, Jace, and Mike on the Personnel Committee, Nick and Shonda on the Public Works, Nick on the Liquor Committee, Jason and Mike on the Finance Committee, Max on the Public Safety Committee, Max on the Golf Board, Sheldon on the Safety Committee, Nick on the Blackduck Library Board as a liaison and the Kichigami representative, and then Max on the Revolving Loan Fund Committee. Hope I got it all right.
Meaning quiet, I still got roped into 3.
Oh,
I don't have a problem with it. Shelton, you have a problem?
None.
Nick, do you have a problem?
I think that, I think it was a good switch around. I don't think everything's perfect necessarily, but I'm willing to work with it the way it is. I think it'll work.
Well, then I will make the motion to approve 2021-01 2021-01 with the
Noted.
noted positions filled with the select counselors, department head, and mayor.
There you go. Nicely done.
We have a motion and a second.
Mhm.
Do we have any final discussion on this? Nobody's got anything? They don't
Actually,
wanna-
I have one question.
Right.
Besides Nick, ours are gonna all be in person and non-Zoom, or are they gonna be Zoom or hybrid as well?
They
Or
should,
it's tentative?
yeah, we should be able to meet in person.
Okay.
If they're local.
Works for me.
Yep. If for
No more questions.
something happens,
And
then
if-
we have to.
Then we can always go back to it.
Yeah.
Right, I know, it's just that the League of Minnesota gave us a gray area. Just wanna make sure that we still fall within that area.
We will do our best, yes.
All right. Motion is still on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes.
Great. Hopefully that's the most difficult one you guys are gonna talk about.
Well, and it was good to do it after, now we have, there's 4 of us here waiting till, we'll see what happens in April.
Very good. Next item for movement is resolution 2021-02. This is an update from December. I do apologize to the board, but when we adjusted the water and sewer rates for the multifamily dwelling, I forgot to do the base rate for water for the multifamily dwelling. We did it for the sewer, but I didn't change it on the resolution, so that's going from that $13 to $18. So I just need this approved so that we can do that one as well.
Yeah, it's all approved, 2021-02 resolution on the change of finance,
Water rates.
or water rights, yeah.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes.
Item C is resolution 2021-03. This is a resolution authorizing the vacation of streets in the preliminary plat entitled Southern Duck Estates, based on the feedback from the public hearing earlier this evening.
Sorry, I have to chuckle.
I make the motion to approve 2021-03 on the citizens' feedback. Authorizing the vacation of the streets in Southern Duck Estates.
I'm gonna second that one. A motion and a second. All those in favor? Actually, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes.
Item D is resolution 2021-04, resolution acknowledging the donation from the Blackduck Fire Relief Association. This is your annual relief donation each year, based on their net earnings, warnings, whatever, from their gambling. You'll note it's a fairly healthy donation to the fire relief, or from the fire relief to the special equipment fund for the fire department. I think in the last decade, I've never seen it this high from the feedback I've gotten. So this is helping them dramatically.
Yeah, considering we had kind of dip into it a little bit for the
COVID.
some of the radio stuff. Good. Okay.
Approve. Make a motion to approve the 2021. What is it?
04.
Resolution for the fire department relief.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Nick. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none passes.
Okay, letter E is the City of Blackduck Conflict of Interest and Code of Ethics Policy for elected officials, boards, commissions, and committees for 2021. This conflict of interest and code of ethics policy will be signed each year on the annual meeting, which would be today. So after this gets approved tonight, I'll need all council signing the document, so.
It's the same one that we got in the mail.
No.
Yes, it is the same that you received in the mail. Do I not have the year?
I got one from you and then I got one from.
I thought you were talking about the one from
Oh,
Miller
sorry.
McDonald.
I got one from you. That was recent.
Right,
Okay.
I got that too.
You will get both. You will get both. You will get the one for this, for the city, and the one for Miller McDonald is from the 2020 audit, and that was sent to you from them, not from the city. So since we now have this policy, you're gonna see it twice each year. It's just disclosing that there, you know of no conflicts from the preceding year, and that this is on the annual meeting agreeing to the policy at the beginning of each year.
So being signed and sent back, is okay.
That's exactly what you would like to do. Yes. Yes, please. So I just need approval of the policy for 2021.
All proof of policy.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Sheldon seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. That one passes. F has been removed.
F has been removed. It will be discussed at the work session in January.
Do we have? Gail's not here, is she?
No, she is not. That's okay. Let me catch up
Okay.
to you here for a second, please.
No, you, go ahead.
I'm just pulling out that one document everybody needs to sign. Okay, so that's at the work session. Okay. Flip that over. Okay, so letter G is the consideration for funding services from WIDSEF for the commercial building demolition project. So what this document is from WIDSEF is Gail Leverson will work as, she's the funding specialist, but she'll be providing the services to start the funding application for this demolition project that we discussed for the commercial property downtown. You'll note in the services request that there is a fee. Council should know that the Blackduck Development Corporation has already paid this fee. So because only a governing entity can actually apply for the funding, the proposal for the project has to be authorized by this board, whether it's paid for by the city or not. And that's why the Development Corps has agreed to pay for the services, a little over $10,000, so that we can kickstart this project. Once this is committed to, there's a resolution afterwards that the board has to make a consideration on so that Gail can actually apply for the grant. That is due February 1, and that's one of the reasons why this is in front of you tonight. If everything works out right and the funding is procured by the state, then like I stated in a work session prior to, it turns into a grant until 2, or it could be extended, from what I hear, up to 2 to 4 years once the property is all demoed and cleaned up and can be resold. Then that 50% is actually given back in the form of a grant, and the other side becomes a fee that you can assess the new owner. I'm just letting the council know that this project is risky. Okay, there's not going to be anything stating that it's obvious demo is spendy and risky, but I just want to say that if anybody, if any entity is going to do this, the city's a good one to do, to actually take the initiative on it. Because I don't think anyone else is going to see it as a potential in the future, except this board.
Put it this, anybody that says, why don't you use one of the buildings we have downtown that's empty? They don't know the condition of those buildings.
Right.
Right.
They are beyond fixing.
Renovation.
They-
So I just have a question. if
Yep.
That's allowable. So if you look at this in the long term, it costs a lot to demo.
Mhm.
We sell them to somebody, they put something on there, and they pay us taxes.
They pay us back for how much?
Right, but I mean,
Yep.
in the long run, they're paying us back for the portion that we did, but then in the long run, they're paying
That's correct.
taxes and water and sewer to us.
It's,
Yep.
we will be taking, I mean, eventually, yes, those, in theory, that's how it would pay itself off.
Well, that's,
But that's a
Yep,
long,
that's
that is the long haul, and don't expect, you know, we can't expect to make what this is gonna cost.
That is definitely, Shonda is completely
the-
right on
on the
that. And
output.
so are you, Max, that there, like I said earlier, there is a risk. I guarantee the city won't make the money back on this. But the city needs to decide if it's worth the risk to redevelop and have some commercial property that can be usable to go back on the tax roll. Because currently, in its state, it's not usable, and it'll become tax forfeiture.
Then the county has it. I mean, we could sit here and do nothing.
Then you gotta look at the fact that few some people playing and kids playing around there, something gets hurt.
Well, we all know that it is a public nuisance as it sits right now, and it is a public health issue. So that property needs to be secured in some fashion. And the long haul is it needs to come down because it's past its point of being able to be renovated.
Do
And-
you have any kind of number at all at what the cost is gonna be?
The development corps did receive a quote from a local contractor that does not include asbestos cleanup. It also does not include touching the wall, the exterior wall north of Gustafson's that abuts the theater. Nor does it include the parcel that's next to City Hall, because right now that was unknown. And that was like $83,000.
Was that with, disconnecting services and backfilling everything in, or is that just removal?
Let me take a peek if I have it right here.
Kind of asked the same thing. as
Yep.
Mike. Are they gonna leave it open for a basement, or are they gonna level it out for no basement, no foundation, or just a solid foundation?
So that quote to the development corps for $83,000 includes demolition and return to green space for 40 and 48 Main, not 32. All labor and material to remove building, leaving basement walls next to the movie theater and next to 32 Main Street, backfill basement, place topsoil and hand seed. A licensed asbestos agency will need to be contracted. Contracted, and an inspection will need to be done. No estimate for asbestos removal is given because they were not.
So what we're saying is
is
it's,
there presence of asbestos or no?
Very possible.
I would guess.
Very possible,
It's-
yes,
With the
Shonda.
date of those buildings,
Yep.
you're gonna have
most likely.
85,000 plus,
Mm-hmm.
Another building plus the asbestos.
plus the building and the asbestos cleanup. So I'm guessing somewhere around,
90, 20.
I was gonna say like about, I was gonna go around 140 to be perfectly honest with
They'll
you.
go and take the asbestos out first, and then they're gonna demo, and asbestos is not cheap.
That's where the real money is gonna be, is in that.
So,
PPE for that too.
I mean, we could, that's part of the risk, it's part of the gamble.
I did, sorry, Max, I did hear you correctly though, Christina, you said backfill the basement, so. new buyer would lose the basement.
They'd have to dig their own in.
Mhm.
So they're just
That's
gonna
typical
put
for-
put dirt in there, they're not gonna concrete.
That's
Right.
correct.
Okay, so it's still there. Okay, that's good though.
But they're not ripping the other retaining walls out. They're
Not with
leaving
that
them.
quote, Sheldon, no. Right,
So it'd be up to the new purchaser.
right, right.
The question that's before us is, what do you guys think?
I think it has to be done.
It's just gonna be an eyesore and can't be rented. It's almost pointless not to.
I mean, I'm pretty sure council's all on the same board of doing it, but can we afford a maxes in my opinion, or our estimation of 120, 150, 140?
So that's a very good question. So if you consider that plus, what Gail will put in the grant is, you know, the estimation of what the demo will cost. In addition to that, they'll have, her services will have somebody actually go in and look at all three parcels and get a better idea of, you know, if there's any shared walls for engineering issues. Then once she has a solid number, you figured, let's just assume the entire scope of the demolition costs, let's say 150, because that's an easy number to work with. That plus, she can put in their acquisition costs for the property. And anything else engineering wise that might come in to the grant proposal itself. 50% of that is a grant. The other 50 is what the city would be on the hook for. Does that help with your
So
question?
we're really gonna be on the hook for about half of what it's gonna
About
be.
$75,000.
You could roughly say that. I mean, just with the numbers we have right now. So what my suggestion was in this situation, working on with the development core and with this board, is that the city has its unrestricted revolving loan fund that it could utilize the funding for, based on the statutory requirements. The other thing to keep in mind is the other reason that it would be a good use of that funding is that in reality, that's what it's used for, is to help commercial businesses, right? So if that became another loan back to another commercial business that ends up buying property that's empty, then the money goes back into that fund. So you are revolving it. Yes, you are going to lose some. There's no argument to that. It's not going to be 100% recovered, but it is a good consideration on what that money could be used for. And then your downtown would look a little
Meter,
cleaner.
Here's my
cleaner.
You're not gonna attract new businesses to rent the buildings that are rentable if you have junk right next door.
Agreed.
Right, and I don't think none of us are denying that, or that point of view. We're asking the funding issue.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
no, I'm quite aware.
Mhm.
So,
So the sale of the parcels after the fact, they're all tore down, ready to be resold,
Mhm.
will generate, they'll cover the money to help in the long
It
run.
will. It won't be 100% recoverable though.
Right, right.
Right. You're going to take a loss. The question is, how big of a loss will the city take?
and every single one of us is gonna get to listen to how
Uh-huh.
stupid the city is for buying those buildings, because people just don't understand.
So those lots,
Mhm.
and I don't know if I'm just confused for a second here or not. Currently, the development core owns them.
They own 2 of the 3. They're working on the 3rd. Yes.
Okay, so if we're gonna kick all this money in
Mhm.
and take care of getting them cleaned up and out of there,
Mhm.
then is the development core gonna be the one that sells them and makes that money, or are they gonna be our lots?
There'll be our lots.
Okay, so they'll sign them over. to
That is
us.
correct. Yep.
Because they have to be ours to
Well,
qualify
and
for the
that, I
grant.
was just
Yep.
kind of wondering there
Yep.
when that was being done in the process.
And in this process with requesting for the funding from the state, Mike, is there's an acquisition portion of it too.
Sure.
So let's be honest, the development core walked into
Yeah.
something they thought was going to be less expensive and it wasn't. So they're getting blood dry right now based on how much they thought they were gonna put into
And they've
it.
acknowledged them.
And they've acknowledged this, but the acquisition portion of this grant will help them offset that. And they know that they've lost money and they're fine with that because their money can go to things like this. And that was their initial thought is, let's clean the downtown commercialized up. Let's get it kickstarted with the money that they had so that we could start this process. This just ended up being the end tail to that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious on it.
Okay. What the city needs to do is if they agree to this proposal, Max, that needs to be approved so that Gail can start her services regardless of the development corp paying for them, and approve the resolution that I've tacked on in item H in order for her to continue.
So we would need a motion to approve the proposal demo.
That is correct.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? All those in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Hearing none. That one passes.
Perfect. And then subsequently, like I said earlier, I would need a motion and a second to approve resolution 2020-105.
I'll make that motion as well.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second on the resolution. Is there any discussion on it?
I just want to make one note to the board. If it gives you any pause, Gail's been on the phone with the state for this grant, this type of grant, many times since she and I have started this conversation. This is exactly what this project was created for, was for smaller municipalities that can't afford to do this type of work so that they can clean up their downtowns and revitalize them. They don't typically give these grants out to larger cities that have EDAs and HRAs that are really doing nuts and bolts work for their downtowns. So I think we have a really good chance.
Now, this will only get passed if we take possession of the third building
And I'm
by
working on.
February 1st, right? We have to make a new resolution.
No, we don't have to have position by February 1st, but I'm currently working on that right now with the development core, and I think that will happen. It's a little bit more confusing, Jason, but because usually all the acquisition is already there and there's just kind of one sitting in the, but I've had firsthand conversation with the current deed holder, and he is open to letting it go.
Right, yeah, that's, I understand that. I was just under the assumption that we had to have possession, it had to be in our name in order to get the grant.
We will,
That's what I was asking.
yes, and we will.
Okay.
So late summer, construction will start then.
Well, let's just see. It's gonna be a wild ride before then.
Where is your timestamp for Sheldon? I want to know it.
We have an unlimited personnel.
Well, anyway,
You're the-
any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, passes.
Right.
Thank you. I just want to say, you guys, that's big. Okay. That one's big. It's the right thing to do.
Okay.
And I said that on record, so anybody can come at me.
All right. If I may, I have a few dates here just to discuss with the council.
Okay,
And
go
then
slow.
if anybody has any questions, let me know. Please, this is a reminder that we are at the filing period for the special election. Goes to the 19th of this month. I currently have no one that has filed. It has been in the paper and I've had it on the 365 Facebook page twice. So
I put it in the chit chat today.
I think that's the second or third time it's been in there.
I've seen that.
We're trying.
January 13th, this Wednesday, is the next development core meeting, still being held here at City Hall because it can't, and they'll be at that, can't be held at the Good Sam yet. That's at 11 o'clock. January 18th is Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, so government offices are closed. That's a week from today. January 20th is the next Chamber of Commerce meeting. I have it as a Zoom call, but that's because we weren't really sure if we're going to be open. So the scheduled location is supposed to be at the Hungry Duck. It sounds like it's going to be in person, so just to update you on that.
Oh, the chamber meeting?
The chamber meeting, yep. Also on January 20th at 2 o'clock is the next planning commission meeting. That's here at City Hall. January 25th would be your scheduled work session for the city council at 6 o'clock. That's 2 weeks from tonight. And then February 8th, 2 weeks later, would be the February regular council meeting. At that regular council meeting, you're going to have 2 public hearings. The first one will be the required stage 2 requirement for the USDA rural development public facilities building for the building project. If you may remember, last February, we had one for the community facilities grant to acquire the skid steer. That is just part of the get on the truck orange with the USDA. You have to have a public hearing. That'll be once you commence the meeting, just like we did tonight, Max. Once that one is done, then you'll open the next public hearing, and that's for the school district. They have 2 pieces of land up on the corner here where the trades building is that they want to have combined, and there has to be a public hearing for that. It's the same as if you're splitting a parcel. So that will be shortly after the first one, and then you'll be able to continue your regular meeting.
We don't have to have a specific time for that.
I wrote down 6:30. I'm hoping the first one doesn't take that long, but I had to put notifications out to landowners within 350 feet of the school district, which ends up being like maybe a dozen. So I don't know who's going to show up for that.
No, I understand. I'm just curious if we're gonna hold it at 6:30 and we hold it at 6:10, so people show up at 6:30 to voice their concerns and we already voted.
We'll wait.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
We open one, go back to our regular, open the public
We
at
could.
6:30?
Yes, we could,
Okay.
absolutely. Good point.
Or we could just take a break and
Walk around the block.
I would suggest what Jason is considering and keep moving on other stuff like we did our truth and taxation. Any other questions about that? Okay, moving on, February 8th through the 12th is the on-site audit for Miller McDonald for 2020. So I'll have the auditors here that week. April 13th is the special election. And April 26th, I received notification last week, will be the local board of appeal, and they're calling an equalization meeting. This is for taxes. That's 26th, April 26th at 9 o'clock here. And yeah,
in case you think you're paying too much.
well, yeah. That's an open meeting, so anybody that wants to show can. It doesn't have to be convened or anything. They'll be here to help whoever wants the help for.
So that's at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m.
AM.
Okay. And that's for residents who feel that their properties are not high enough, or they're paying too much taxes if the property value is not high enough, or
Yes,
yeah,
yes
if they're-
to all of those.
If they're questioning the value or how the county came up with that value, those are the guys you're gonna wanna talk to.
If they're in the city limits of Blackduck.
For City of Blackduck. That is correct, Shonda. Because they do the townships at different times.
Yes.
Yep. And then just an update, we're gonna close this building, this coming Friday. We're gonna do some improvements. We're gonna be working on, the ceiling. I did receive a quote from Crendon to relamp our lights. And it's within the budget that we put in this year. So staff is going to paint the grid work on the drop ceiling white. I've ordered new tiles, and then we're gonna relamp it. So trying to keep it under budget as best as we can, but I think it'll make a huge improvement.
You don't like the discoloration or like.
Or the ones that don't work.
That one might fall.
Yep,
The ones that flicker.
yep, those give everybody a headache, so.
That's usually so bad.
I've already talked to Bill Crendon, and he's got the lights on order, so hopefully within a week and a half, by your work session, the ceiling will probably be done. We're gonna do a few more days of some improvements to do some painting. You'll notice that the guys built a nice surround around the clerk's desk, removed part of this counter, just doing a few things that we can to update. And if I can fit it under the budget, I'm gonna put new flooring in here too.
Are you going with LED lights?
Yes, they'll all be retrofitted to flat panels, so. And let's see, that field, or that tile that has no light, there'll be a light there. And then the one where that canister is, there'll be a light there. And then we're gonna add 2 additionals to the back office and the front office, so it should be a huge improvement.
That's kind of dark.
Yeah,
Out of the 50s into the 90s.
yep.
With the LEDs, you say you're gonna stay with the 4 lights, or you be super bright in here, or you go
They're
down
the
to 2?
same exact same size panels.
They'll say, yeah, they'll just
Then
be,
it's 2x4.
yep,
Relays.
they'll still be the 2x4, but they'll be the flat panel LEDs.
Oh, I got you.
Yep. Other than that, unless anybody has questions for me, that's all I have, Max.
Okay. Anybody? Anything new going on?
I don't know.
Wow, nothing in the community events, good things, nothing.
I probably forgot to put stuff. I bet you there is things I probably could have added, but I think the agenda was long enough. I was getting to the end of page 4. Yes.
Restaurants,
Yes.
absolutely.
I gotta say, it was really nice driving into town and seeing folks parked at Restaurant 71 for breakfast.
Yeah, 25% or is it 50?
It's 50.
So that's better than it was.
All right, I don't wanna be the bad guy, but it's gonna happen when we hit this new COVID.
But the vaccination works
I
for the
know.
new COVID.
Oh, it does? I haven't read that.
They said that today.
Oh,
Quite a few.
woohoo. Good.
But you gotta get it.
It's this strange.
With that,
It's always.
motion to adjourn,
You making or you asking?
I'm asking.
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. We stand adjourned.
I would like to do one group photo, and then you guys can bolt after everybody
the-
signs this document.
Does the pond have photos of
Blue or black, doesn't matter.
the manager, assistant manager on the website?
You know, that's the thing, you ought to do that.
Thank you. No, I just gotta get over there. Thank you.
You know, when I look at city